Hello everyone, welcome back to Studio Rags. Today I'm presenting you a new updated video with some more information and tips and tricks for making Indonesian Batik. Indonesian Batik is a resist method of printing the fabric, just like tie-dye is the resist method of dyeing. And this is actually a Batik Tulis class. Batik Tulis means literally drawing or painting with hand. In this method we use a special tool called tjanting or brush to paint the fabric with wax, and we use a combination of beeswax and paraffin wax in 70-30 or 60-40. The larger portion is always the paraffin wax, and it's white in color, while the beeswax is yellow in color. The first step of the whole process is creating your design and then tracing it onto the fabric. We always use a lead pencil to trace the fabric with the design. Never use a pen or a marker because they're going to become permanent when they react with the dyes. So I'm showing you the traditional method of painting batik, and it's most efficient. People think that it's scary, but it's actually the simplest and the quickest. So you open your hand like a natural relaxed cup, not a flat palm or a fist, and then put the fabric on your hand. There would naturally be a gap between the palm and the fabric, and then you can start painting. So before painting, you have to let all the wax melt. There should be no solid wax in your pot, and towards the end put your brush also into the pot, so the brush also heats up, and it gives you the optimum temperature for painting the wax. I'm using an electric pot. You can use an electric pot or any old saucepan or anything, and put it on the gas top, but keep the heat low so it doesn't start fuming, and stay closer to the heat source so you don't have to run back and forth to heat the wax again and again. So you see that we start painting, and as soon as we paint the fabric, it becomes translucent. That means that the brush and the wax both are at the right temperature. Sometimes we start painting too early without waiting for the wax to heat up properly, and the result becomes really cakey or white on the surface of the fabric. In that case, you just flip the fabric and paint that portion from the back side. Now in this step I'm showing you how to use a tjanting tool. Tjanting tool is the specialized tool or the traditional tool used for making batik. You hold your tool in the hot wax and let it heat up. The tool has got a small copper cup with a fine spout or nozzle. Fill your cup half only, and then wipe it on the edge a couple of times to remove the excess wax. Keep it tilted and bring it onto the fabric. Keep it tilted upwards actually, so you can control the dripping of the wax, and start painting onto the fabric. The tjanting tools are actually used to paint the finer parts of the design, and you can see that the lines here are pretty fine. Honestly speaking, you're gonna need a fair bit of the practice to be able to use the tjanting tools neatly and comfortably. So use any old or extra fabric or any waste fabric to do some practice, and then you should go onto your final motif or your final fabric. By the way, in your kit the tjanting tool is not included, but you can request for it, and I can ship you for a small charge. Your kit is going to have a brush, two different kind of fabrics, a couple of designs, dyes and chemicals, and a cake of the ready to use wax, and there would be instructions also in your kit. So you can see that we make a combination of brushwork and the tjanting tool and cover all the fabric with the hot wax. And now this is the third step of the process, which is dyeing. We can only use Prussian dyes or cold dyes for making batik because we have applied the hot wax, and we cannot use any heat or boiling method to set the dyes onto the fabric. So these Prussian dyes, they have two components. The first one is the soda ash. Soda ash is a strong alkali. It is actually a dye fixing agent. Without soda ash, this dyeing is not going to happen, so don't miss it. You are going to use the instructions and the proportions that are mentioned in your instruction sheet and make a solution with hot water for soda ash. Then here you can see that I'm using a kitty litter tray or tub. Put all the fabric scrunched up in the tray and sprinkle a reasonable amount of the soda ash. Don't make it too wet, because if you add too much soda ash right from the start, and as you add the dyes, it's going to become very watery and you would have no control absolutely on your dyeing. You can use a tray, a tub, or simply put your fabric into a large plastic bag and then sprinkle soda ash and then start adding your dyes. I've added yellow as my main color, then used pink and blue for my second colors, and actually you can see that I have tones of purple and greens as well. So 3 colors actually ended up as 5 colors. Add your dyes and gently press them down. Don't crush the fabric too much. Gently open the folds and add more dye. We don't want to leave any white ground, remember this. Although it looks very nice, but don't leave any white ground, because if you leave the ground white, your design is going to disappear. So cover all the fabric with the dyes and then put it into the plastic bag. Make a knot, lock the plastic bag, and keep it as is for 24 hours. But during these 24 hours, whenever you remember, 2 to 3 times flip your package or turn it over so the dye doesn't sit on one side because of the gravity. You must leave it for 24 hours wrapped or locked, but you can leave it longer. In case you're busy, you can leave it for 2, 3, 4 days. Nothing is going to go wrong. And now we are at the final or 4th step of the whole process. I have done a couple of different fabrics and I'm de-waxing them together. So one more important thing, that with this batik process, we only use natural fibers like silk, cotton, rayon, linen. Only synthetics are not going to work with this, because it needs specific kind of dyes which are only usable for natural fabrics. So open your plastic bag, take your piece out and just rinse it like 50% clear under the cold water. No detergent is required for this washing at all. And then put it into the pot of boiling hot water. Nothing else is needed. Just put your wet piece into a pot of boiling water and agitate it with any stick or a branch. Keep agitating, and you're going to boil this for 3 to 5 minutes maximum, depending on the size and the coverage of the fabric. 5 minutes are normally enough. All the wax is going to melt and be left into the pot, and then you can take your piece out and take it under the cold water straight. Rub it, wash it, rinse it, take it out, shake it vigorously and line dry, and that's it. By the way, there could be some wax still, small granules left on the surface of the fabric. So you can iron that out. Sometimes if you have heavy coverage on the fabric, or it's a heavyweight fabric, then it's a good idea to boil your fabric twice to remove all the wax. It's going to give you a nice soft finish, and then you don't have to worry about washing the fabric afterwards, because no more color bleeding is going to happen. And I'm showing you actually 2 methods. The first one is the boiling method and the second one is the iron out method. If you decide to do the iron out method, then rinse your piece 100% clear, wash it until there is no more color coming out, and then line dry 100%. And once it's dry, then set up your iron board by putting 4 to 5 layers of newspaper underneath, then your dried fabric, and then cover it with a layer of newspaper or butcher paper, or simply the kitchen towel, I mean the paper towel. And use hot iron like cotton settings, no steam. Remember, we don't need any steam at all for this. So keep ironing slowly from the top and keep changing the top layer. All the wax is going to be absorbed by the top newspaper or butcher paper, whatever you're using, and that's how you clear your fabric from one edge to the other. And this is going to give you a slightly stiff finish, which is great for making a bag or cushion or table runner or a wall hanging. And that's it. This is the whole process for making Indonesian batik. I hope you learned some new things in your beginners batik class, and you're most welcome to join me in another class of Japanese indigo shibori. You can order a full kit and you're gonna get all the things that you need to get started. So until then, stay creative and subscribe if you find my content to be valuable and helpful. Thank you. Bye bye.